Good evening, everybody. It's First Mondays. How you doing? It is July, and we are so excited to have you here tonight for our virtual meetup. Biz Chicks meets every first Monday, normally at Seasons 52, but tonight we'll bring it right into your living room just so we could be with you.
Yep.
Let us know when you're here, because we're going to be opening up seats and talking to folks tonight. So make sure your camera ready if you aren't already. How you doing this evening, friend?
I am doing very, very well. Good evening. It is the first Monday in July.
Mm-hmm.
And so today we normally have, if you were in the restaurant, we would be making introductions, telling you what Biz Chicks is all about. So we're going to do that. Then we will have our guest speaker, which is Mr. Mark Ward. All the way from Chicago, Illinois. He'll be coming into the set here in just a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. And then we'll be hearing from different people throughout the evening. But today, we want to tell you how we do what we do, why we do
Why
what
we
we
do
do.
what we do.
So Biz Chicks, we started Biz Chicks a while back because we were doing business and we were online. I think we were looking at Periscope and we're looking at different things, and they were trying to share with people business tips, and things of that nature. But they were so complicated, and we were like, "This
Girl,
does not need to be this
it
difficult."
don't take all of that language to
It does not.
explain something.
Yeah, so we started doing the business, and we're like, okay, so we created, the we have a standard operating procedures for success
Mm-hmm.
business. And so we started working with that, and we gave that away free. Many of you, if you are part of Biz Chicks, you probably got the PDF. Hopefully you're using the PDF, because everything that we do, we expect you to use and get results from it, positive results. So along the way, we help people do uh, simplify their business. Then Terry came up with this brilliant slogan: "We help you take the hassle out of your hustle."
Please take the hassle out of my hustle, girl.
And we do that because through business tools that people never talked about. They tell you how to get a coach. They tell you you need a coach. They tell you about your confidence. They tell you about all these other things, but nobody told you about the little basic stuff like answer the phone,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or having a database, or some really basic business things that will help your business go forward. And these are the things that we use when we worked in admin. Terry has background working with the state of California, and then she also has a degree in diplomacy and some other things that
Thank God.
we don't talk about all the paperwork and stuff. I do television and production and marketing and stuff like that. But we wanted to bring simple business tools that to help you do business better, to run a profitable business that's fun to run.
There you go.
If it's not fun, why do we do it? So, so we do a profitable business that's fun to run, help you take the hassle out of your hustle, bringing people who have subject matter experts like our uh,
Yes.
guest today,
Mm-hmm.
Mark Ward, people that can help you think better about your business and those type of things. So that's what we do at Biz Chicks.
And that's why we do it.
That's why.
We do not like convoluted crap. Okay. So we want you to be able to understand it and do it without having to go to a dictionary and deconstruct it.
Right. And we want you to have fun with your business.
We really
And
do.
so our main things, we do workshops. Our
Mm-hmm.
workshops are we have discovery workshops to help you figure out, what it is that you want to do and that type of thing. We do workshops. We do office hours. Those are one-on-one time where you can ask us anything about anything that we do. And we do technology. We help you figure out your stuff, like your phone, your computer, your tablet, how to run StreamYard, how to work on Zoom, whatever
Mhm.
it is that we have knowledge of, we want to help you. So we have a tech playground too. The tech
Oh, yes.
playground is all about getting in there. Last month we played with MailChimp.
Mhm.
Just the basics of MailChimp so that you can go in there and set up your email and let you see what it works, all the little inner workings. And there was a little extra tidbit that was in there. If you took that class, you got the little extra tidbit
Mhm.
that
That
was
was a
good.
winner too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was really good. And you'll have to take the next class if you want to know what we're talking about. So we do things of that nature. So our tech playgrounds. So pretty much workshops, office
Hours.
hours, masterminds every quarter or every year, and our tech playground.
Mhm.
We don't offer everything. We don't have the menu like Jack in the Box, where you're sitting there looking like, oh my God, what do I choose? We can point you in the direction of something that we don't do
Mhm.
because we can't do everything.
We are not jacks of all trades and masters of none. We are your cheerleader and your coach. We will walk you through some stuff and help you get it done.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we do in a nutshell. And we're going to,
Jill's in here in the house.
yeah,
And Christy's in the house.
we got Christy. Hey, Jill. Jill, we need you to talk about your
Event coming up. Her
your
virtual.
yes, that virtual yoga event.
Mhm.
Um, we need you to talk about that in a little bit later on today.
Chrissy's asking a question. What do you do with MailChimp? You need to
Yeah,
come to the workshop, Christy.
MailChimp. So I can answer this question. MailChimp is an email program. There are many of them out there, but I found MailChimp is simple.
Mhm.
And they will allow you to email out to your customers. They have a program if you don't have a bunch of people yet and your mailing list is small, you can start with them because they don't charge you until you reach a certain number. I think it's like 2,500 people, then they'll
Mhm.
start charging you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so you can get used to it and get familiar with it and set up your campaigns and that type of thing, which we can talk to you about later. But that's one of the things we do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We just,
Mark,
where did he go? He just went.
okay. So we have one more minute before Mark comes in the room. Mark Ward will be joining us here just shortly. I was like, okay, he was just here.
He was just here. He just disappeared. Ah.
Yeah. So,
Let's
uh,
see. Tell him he was in the right studio.
yep. Okay.
So while she's doing that, I just want to say that you are here tonight with Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. So if you are not already a Biz Chick or you desire to become a Biz Chick, we are going to put this information up here so that you can go over and join because we would love to have you become a Biz Chick.
Mm-hmm.
There he is.
There it is.
Also, we have a private group that we'd like you to join,
Right.
and so you can check us out on our Facebook page. Meanwhile, we're going to get on to the business of our guest tonight.
Okay. And our guest tonight, dun, 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 I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. Mr. Mark Ward, all the way from Chicago, Illinois. Mark.
Mark, turn
Yeah.
your volume up.
Are we far enough away? Are we?
I
I,
th-
I think we're, 3,000
Are we
miles
60?
ought to do it.
Are we?
I think we're good. I think we're good.
I think we're good. We're like six. or well, 3,000 miles ought to be good, or 2,000. Is it 2? I don't know. How are you this evening?
How's the signal?
Sorry.
Okay, hold on.
Kicked off a moment ago.
Okay, hold on.
So hopefully it'll be okay. I got kicked off a second.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, because let me check on something here.
It is so good to see you, Mark.
It's nice to see you both as well.
Right. So what do you have for us today, Mark? Just introduce yourself, what you do, and I'm going to let you have the floor.
Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate the invitation to just come and say hello. Happy Monday to everybody.
Hey, guys.
Yes, let's start the weekend right. I'm a life strategist.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, what that means is I help people define success in some measurable capacity and then work with them to create the strategies that ensure that they achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
Because here, my philosophy, my belief is we are either living one of two ways, either by design to create the kind of life that we want, or by default, meaning that we're just going through the motions, existing and taking what comes up. And I find that a lot of people, especially with recent events, have found themselves feeling lost, disconnected, void of passion, without direction. And here's the thing that I find interesting. If we were going to create a business, as many of you have done out there, you would not create a business without having a plan. But yet, with our most precious asset, which is our life, sometimes we just fly by the seat of our pants. So my question is, who do you want to be? And
that's good, Mark.
Your life lived is the definition of who you are. So is your life reflecting that answer? And if not, why not? Why not? And this particular time, when a lot of our foundations have been shaken loose, is really the perfect time to revisit what it is that each of us individually are trying to create in this world, in our lives and in this world. And that's what I do. I have people that come to me who know exactly what they want, who are unclear about how to get from here to there. And I have people who really don't know that they know. They're really in a fog and they're unclear. But my question always is, are you living or are you existing? None of us are going to get out of here alive, so why not go for it?
I like that. I like that, because the other alternative is to not go for it and still not
die with your gifts inside of you. That each of us individually are trying. Excuse me, that's me.
And we still don't get out of here alive. We didn't do anything. So now there's a life of regret.
There you go.
And so many of us have really surrendered to an idea of limitation. We have surrendered the idea of our own power, possibility, and potential, and are just existing rather than living. And that is a choice. And not making a choice is also a choice. So it really is a matter of deciding what you want your life to be, and are you willing to do what is required to get it?
Oh, okay. So we have choices and we can choose to either participate or not. Is that what you're saying, Mark?
Yes, we can either be conscious about it or unconscious about it, which means the choices will be made for us by us not making a conscious choice, which unfortunately is what a lot of people do. You know, one of the things that I often do, because this work can be hard, and sometimes, quite honestly, I'm not feeling it, and I'm not even sure if I want to continue sometimes. And when I get into that funk, all I have to do is go to the Loop here in Chicago and watch people as they are on their way to work. And when you see the grimace, it's the walking wounded. It's really the walking dead in many respects. When you see people that are, to overstate it, willfully walking into an oven, that is my motivation, because people have forgotten. And it's easy, especially when we get older, because what we forget is the world changes, our life changes, all of these things change. So if we have not revisited what it is that we're trying to create our life and whether we're actually doing it, we too have become unconscious. And that void, that vacuum of uncertainty is what I call it, where the misery creeps in.
The vacuum of uncertainty. Wow. You draw such graphic pictures. Francine, you're muted.
She's very animated, but I don't hear a word she's saying.
Say that again, darling.
I like the fact that you put things in such a way that make us think. And I'm like, oh, I can participate in my own destiny and have a decision where it's going to go. Or I'm just on the bus on a ride and then they're just taking me someplace.
Okay.
There's one question that we are answering every day. And that is the pain of where you are greater than the discomfort of what it's going to take to move you out of it? You might as well know your answer, because you are answering that question every day when you get up.
Say that again, please, because it needs to be repeated.
Is the pain of where you are greater than what it's going to take to move you out of it?
That's true, because you can put that in, say, someone who wants to be more healthy. Staying on the couch or getting on the bike.
See, the thing is, there are so many things. There are so many things that happen in our life that create stories of lack and limitation and impossibility. And that's part of the work as well. It's really peeling away the onion. The difference between me, some people say, isn't that therapy? Well, the difference between me and a therapist is a therapist helps you clean out the room. I help you decide what you want to put back in it.
Oh, nice. I like that analogy. I see the difference. It's real clear to me. That is so cool. Okay, I get it. So you are like an interior designer for my life.
Right.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, we have some comments here. Jill is saying, look, yes, remember when we have choices, puts us back in the driver's seat. Do you want me to show the others, Fran?
Yes. Then we have Brenna. She says, that's exactly what I say to people who owe me money, but continue to say they're tired of being broke and keep getting their monthly indulgences. Well, you ain't made no changes other than applying for different positions and getting upset you didn't get them. You feel you deserve and you're entitled to it because you've been doing this or that for 20 years.
Carlos is in the room. Hey, Carlos.
Carlos, he said, my onion concept again appears again.
And you know, that last comment actually reminded me of
this one.
Something. Brenna's comment, I believe.
Brenna's. Okay, yeah. Okay, there you go.
And that is one of the questions that I'm often asked, or something that I often bump into, I should say, is the biggest mistake that job seekers make is basing their job search on their experience, when their experience are jobs that they've hated.
Ooh.
And I realize that we are trained to base things on our experience, but it is the wrong place to start, because all you are doing is setting yourself up once again to repeat the pattern in a different form.
For more pain. Mm-hmm.
And it's not that you have to be impractical. You know, we have to be practical. But it is a matter of where you start. So you start by becoming clear about what it is that you really want to create, regardless of your experience. You start there, then you look to see what is required of people in that position. Then what have I done that can be translated in that area? What are some possibilities in the way that I can grow in skills that I need? You start creating possibility, because if you don't, it is never going to happen. No one is going to knock on your door and say, here it is. You got to go for it.
Nice.
Wow.
Claudia is saying, she's got a great comment. She says, is the pain of where you are greater than what it's going to take to move you out of it? Great daily question mark. That things to make you think about
Greater than the discomfort of what it's going to take you. Is the pain of where you are greater than the discomfort of what it's going to take to get you out of it?
Yeah, because it's going to be uncomfortable going for a walk every day. Your muscles are going to be sore.
You know, it takes pain too to get out of toxic relationships. You may be in some toxic relationships with some customers. People, you know, how much pain are you going to take before you break up with your customer? I mean, are they right. Want to twirl now. Does it make sense?
Go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead, Mark.
Success is a product of conditioning. It's aligning thoughts, words, and actions with a definition of measurable success. So the work that I do is really conditioning. I am getting people in shape. First, we're defining what it is that the goal is, what the end is. How are you going to know that you have it when you have it? And then it's a matter of conditioning. I'm going to get you in the space where you are ready to receive it as well as enabled to create it.
Yeah, see, that's really good, because I was thinking about something. There are a lot of people who say they want to have more money, be more wealthy, but they don't want the responsibilities that come with that. There are responsibilities.
And first of all, if I may, that is never the goal.
Never.
What wealth is?
If I may, that is never the goal.
Correct.
This is the first part of my work, is that one of the things that we do really well, a way in which we sabotage ourselves, is we decide what the path is to get what we want, and we often confuse means with end. So it is never about the money. It's about what you think the money is going to provide you. And it's not that there's anything wrong with money. Money's great. We all love money. However, sometimes there are other ways to get to that end without having the limitation of what you think is the only way. And one of the examples that I use is I had a client a while ago who, one of her stated goals when she came to me was to find the best master's program in business. That's not the goal. That is not her goal. That's what she thought the goal was. The goal is what she thinks that business degree is going to give her. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that path. That's all fine and dandy, and it may be the way. But let's not close any other doors of possibility of
Let's see if it's going to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe what Mark was saying. I want to hear the rest of the story
Mm-hmm.
when it pops back in.
About closing the door of possibility. Mm-hmm.
Right. Not you think that the goal is to get in a greatest master's program when the goal may be what that master's program will get you is
Exactly. Because what you're thinking is, okay, it's going to give me a better life, a better house, a better, you know what I mean? In some cases. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
and that's not the end goal. The goal is when people think, well, I want $1 million, it's not that you necessarily want the $1 million, you want what the $1 million can get you.
Exactly.
Which is to maybe relieve the pressure of debt, to relieve the pressure of not having. I was reading a portion of a book. So if you had all the money that you could ever want in the world and you had no need, your stuff was all taken care of, and you have a house and you got cars or whatever it is, then what do you do?
Exactly. What would you do?
If you had it and did not, there's no more struggle
and you get off the struggle bus.
Yep, you're no longer on the struggle bus, and there's plenty of provision.
Mm-hmm.
Now
unlimited, and it's coming in daily. It's just compounding.
Now what?
What would you do?
Now what? Because a lot of people are just been trying to get off the struggle bus, but they don't have a plan past the struggle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's the plan? Now that you're no longer struggling, the ends are being met every month and all of that,
everybody in your immediate circle is taken care of, because that's usually why most of us do these things. It's why we used to get up every day and go to work, you know what I mean, for someone else, because we cared about other people around us or whatever, provision for others.
So now that that's done, now what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's see, Mark.
Brenna.
See what we're going to say it here. Here we go.
Brenna said, exactly. I applied for a bakery position in Costco after being trained to be a USFS firefighter and completing the season. They asked me if I knew how to work in as a bakery. I said no, but I'm a fast learner, gaining experience to know exactly what I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. She's like, no, I don't want to do this. And Jill says, we chase what we think money likes, more customers will bring us. We chase what we think and money likes and more customers will bring us. How do we want to feel when we wake up in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't rely on others. When we wake up in the morning, that doesn't rely on others.
Mm-hmm. Mark's back in the studio, darling.
Hey, Mark, you're back.
I like to make lots of entrances.
Hey, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So finish telling us the story about the lady who thought she wanted the master's program.
Okay. As I said, she came to me looking for the best master's program for her degree, the best school.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not her goal. Her goal actually is what she believes that is going to get her. What we do often is we confuse means with end. And there's nothing wrong with that path unless focusing just on that path becomes limitation, when there could be 2 or 3 other doors that are going to get you to what you want. So a large part of the work at the beginning is really my being able to peel away the onion to find out what you really, really want, because it very rarely, honestly, is what people say. Because we have a way of reframing it in a way that we think is more possible. And sometimes our view is just limited. So why limit yourself?
And there we have it.
It's not that it's wrong. It can just be limiting.
Right.
I get it, because we are making decisions based on our capacity and our experience, which, like you said, cuts off a lot of possibilities.
When there's a lot more provision out there, because while you were out, we talked about what would you do if you had it all, you're not worried about another dime. What do you do now?
Right.
And a lot of people don't have a plan for that. They're like, well, I've always struggled. So what does it feel like to not struggle?
Well, you know, one of the things that I often do with clients that are in programs, they're longer term relationships, is we start out with, and I may have spoken to you both about this before, with the perfect day exercise. And this is where I have them write, handwritten, the perfect day, as descriptive as possible, from the moment that you get up until the time that you go to bed. And that is with all reality and limitations aside. In other words, if it was as you described, Francine, if you were limitless, what does that look like? Just go to town, let it flow. Because what that does is it begins to put what I call a crack in the door that starts letting the energy flow in. And I can derive a great deal from that, from what it is that comes forward. Because then it becomes, what out of those can we start to create right now in your life, piece by piece, little by little? Because by doing that, we're starting to open up your receptivity and your clarity to become clear about what it really is.
I like that. I think that is a challenge that I am sending out to every person that's watching this live and on the replay. Describe your perfect day.
And it's really important. It's important that you write it by hand, because there's a relationship and the energy there as opposed to on a keyboard. And if you find yourself stuck, because some people think it, this is where you just do stream of consciousness, which is you just write at least 3 pages without lifting the pen. Even if you're repeating the same phrase, which won't happen, but even if you're repeating the same phrase, just let it flow. No one's grading the paper. So just let it go.
Brenna says people need to work on in a grateful state instead of being in a struggle state.
Absolutely. And Brenna, every client that I have is required, it's not optional, to do a gratitude journal. And that is 5 things that you're grateful for, specific from this day. So they can't be generalized things like my friends, my family, my food. They have to be very, very specific to that day. Because, as I think Brenna is alluding to, we have a tendency to habitually focus on what is not instead of what is. So that's part of the conditioning process, because if you are not conditioned to see success, you won't know when it knocks on your door. You'll walk right by it.
All right, who's up for the challenge? Describe your perfect day. So Mark, give us that challenge again. I'm up for the challenge. I'm going to do that over this week. Sit down and handwrite what my perfect day would look like. Is that pretty much what you're talking about?
Yes, from the time that you get up till the time you go to bed, as descriptive as possible. So the kinds of surroundings, the kind of people that you're surrounded by, the kinds of activities that you're engaged in, as descriptive as possible.
Okay. And so if you are from a Biz Chicks mastermind, you should have a composition book, and you should go to one of the pages on that composition book, or maybe you might need a new composition book. It's $1 at the Dollar Tree. Go in there and get your composition book, get a pen, get a paper, and write your perfect day. That is your summer assignment. You know how we went to school? We had to, what I did this summer?
And you know what? It's fun.
Right. What is your perfect day? Terry, you're still muted.
I'm sorry. I love it because it will allow me to even define the people around me. You said, who would be in the perfect day? What would they look like? Where would you be? I'm like, oh my gosh. Because when you said write down your perfect day, I was like, well, what would I write? I mean, other than, I'm just grateful. Everything's functioning and I'm good. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when you described it that way, Mark.
I do.
Right.
There's a lot more to it.
Right. You get to,
this work in large part.
Continue.
This work in large part is really about creating harmony. One of the things I think that I've spoken to you ladies before in the past is one of the worst forms of sabotage is when people talk about work-life balance. It makes me crazy because there is no such thing. Because balance insinuates equal, right? You think of Lady Justice with the scales or whatever.
Yeah.
Who do you know whose home life and work life is the same? It's not. That's not really what we're trying to create. What we are trying to create is harmony so that all the pieces of your life are fitting together to create the life that you want. It's not about balance.
I like that. So Christy has a question, and I think you just answered that. And she asked, what if your perfect is not obtainable? Speak to that.
Well, first of all, how do you know? If it's in your mind, I would suggest that a large part of it probably is attainable. You may have decided that it's not attainable for you, which means you're creating your own limitation. But for purposes of this exercise, it doesn't matter. Don't be thinking about it in terms of applicability. Think about it in terms of indulgence. Just indulge. Just let yourself go. We need to sometimes return to the way we were as children. We were able to just jump in for the fun of it and just play. Let the fantasy, because here's the thing. There is no coincidence in the desire that you have. There is a reason why one person's fantasy is different than another's, right? Because all of us have a calling or a number of callings, and your life is tugging at you all the time. If you are not living in alignment with that calling, your life has been giving you a series of road signs. The thing is that we are so busy in the doing as opposed to the being that we're often walking right by those signs. And that's part of the work that I do, is help you step back and say, what do you see? And you start to see that your whole life has been a roadmap saying, look over here, look over here, look over here, look over here.
Oh, what's over there?
Wow, we got some comments coming in.
but this perfect.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
This perfect day exercise, think of it this way. It's about unlocking the door. It's about opening yourself up to possibility. Let it just be that for now.
And this is, I equate this to, you remember when you were a kid and you're sitting there in class and you're just doing like this and you're just daydreaming about you're in class, but you're somewhere else. It's daydreaming. It's imagining. And as a lot of times as we grow up and become adults, we forget how to dream. We forget how to have a daydream where you just sit there and think about nothing, and you're watching the squirrels run through the trees, and I believe Mark is trying to get us to open that door. Has anybody seen The Secret Garden, the movie? Something where the kids are playing, and then there's a secret garden, you know, because they're with the step parents or the parents who are like, ah, and they go out in the yard and play, and they find this door that goes to this secret garden.
Wow.
That takes them away from
The chaos
going on back there.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't wait to get up and get to the secret garden every day.
Wow.
Okay, so I haven't seen, I just remember the garden, and I remember the door going over there. Yes, see, thank you, Anna. Somebody knows about the secret garden.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm talking about. Daydreaming. Get out there.
So many of us have really surrendered our power. We live as if we are a character in someone else's story instead of the author of our own.
Mm-hmm.
So a large part of this work is, why don't we write the story with you as the hero instead of as the victim?
Right.
Exactly. We used to have an expression in this when I was growing up. I was in college. We used to say, "This is my life. You're just living in it." Okay. In other words, okay. So you don't get to script this thing. I'm scripting this thing.
I have a comment here from Claudia. She says, I'm a witness. I've had many experiences of perfect days. I am grateful for my parents always encouraging me to feed my passion.
Yes, that's excellent.
And then Anna says, I love The Secret Garden. And then Chrissy said, this reminds me of the questions, what would I like to do or be when you grow up? No limitation and only imagination. Right. That is what you're going to use when you are writing your perfect day. I like it, Mark, the way you put it, for the perfect day. And it's not my perfect life. It's my perfect day, because trying to figure out my perfect life. It's a little big and a little daunting, but I can figure out what my day would be like. I would get up in the morning. I would have a cup of tea or coffee. I'd sit out on the patio and just write that. Okay. Claudia said, make sure it's The Secret Garden and not the children under the stairs.
I'm not sure what Anna meant by rented, it's worth it. Oh, The Secret Garden.
The Secret Garden.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
There is a Secret Garden. The movie, you might find it on Netflix. Who knows? Yes. Or some other. And she said another great movie was The Little Princess. And Brenna said, I read the book and watched both movies. It's a must watch.
Oh, okay.
See, and these Mark, these are the little stories, the little signposts that keep us going. Books and movies like The Secret Garden that keeps telling you, hey, go over there. Those are little signposts along the way that we got when we were in school or when we sat down and watched them. Those are the little directions, the little pokes that's saying, okay, go that way.
Well, I think this is such a timely exercise because we got time to really just imagine. And we can rewrite for now.
And I also think that the universe has given us an invitation to rise up. One of the analogies that I often use is erosion. If you are standing at the point of erosion, you would conclude that nature is brutal and merciless and cruel. But if you stay around, you see that what has happened is it has actually cleared the path for greater, more abundant growth. And I believe that this is the place that the universe has brought us to, if not as a world, certainly in this country, to decide who we want to be as a country. And where does that start? That starts in your own shoes. who do you want to be, and how do you want that to show up in the world? And so, as much as things can appear to be very dire right now, and that is completely understandable, I get it, it's also providing us with an incredible opportunity to decide who and what we want to be going forward.
Right. Right. These are another little signpost in the which way are you going to go?
Mm-hmm.
Decide life, death, life. Where do you want to be?
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So Anna says she loved the imagery of how the little girls in the attic pictured a perfect day and the neighbor made it come true. Bright orange fabric covering the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Piggle Wiggle too. Brenna says she grew up with pick your own adventure books. Anyone else?
Mm-hmm.
The little princess, even as she was in prison, still had a sense of who she was and her India history. She never forgot who she was. Hey, Karen. Karen, all the way from Toronto, Canada.
Good to see you.
So Mark, you have given us some things to think about. We're going to write our
perfect day.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
It's a summer.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yes, it's a fun summer thing. Something that we do that we can do for the summer. Let's write our summer paper. You know, I see why now they had us. What did you do for the summer? And have you write it down. I like the idea of having a perfect day.
Isn't that beautiful? Dream bigger. I love that.
Yep, dream bigger. We can do it.
And here's the thing: some people don't dream at all.
Yes, we've forgotten how to dream.
Some people have just disconnected. Great.
Mm-hmm.
And Christy says this exercise is really exhilarating. And then Claudia says, weirdly, even when I was a little girl and read Anne Frank's diary, it was encouraging. She was in a terrible space, but yet still found a mind to be positive and grateful for her life and time with her family, even though
it might end. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. The truth about life is, and I think we all know this when we stop to acknowledge it, is it's not about what happens to you, it's how you respond to it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, this is, and the Diary of Anne Frank is, it was a bestseller for a reason. And mm-hmm. And she had no idea when she was writing the diary that someone else was going to find it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then publish it as a book.
Mm-hmm.
And we have that same opportunity. We forgot. Remember how there used to be diaries. I think guys had journals, whatever, and you had a book.
Yeah, a little key.
And with a key on it, and you wrote your diary.
I know it was something that my sisters had that I always wanted to read.
Yeah, exactly. so secret, you know. So secret thoughts.
Get yourself a journal. Get yourself something where, like you mentioned, a couple of things, but we want you to write your perfect day story, and then write down what you're grateful for. What did you say? Not vague.
5 things for which you're grateful for, specific to today. So before you go to bed, it might be, I am so grateful for that delicious pizza that I had for lunch. I find that if anybody read mine, they would conclude that I had an eating issue because there's so much food in there. But I'm very grateful for food. But also to express it not just as a list, but I am so grateful that, I am so thankful for, I am thrilled that, I love that. Using those kinds of words to really infuse your gratitude. And listen, there are many people at the beginning of this exercise that actually have a difficult time, because that is how much many of us are often focused on what is not, but muscle through it. And as you build that muscle, you will find that it is difficult to limit yourself to 5.
Right. It's starting out with 5 and pushing through. I got Kia Hayeswood. Kia, how are you? She's a friend and a client. And good to see you. She says, I went to see one of my favorite bands in concert about 2 years ago, and during a monologue, the artist mentioned that as a band, they experienced turmoil because they were always worried about who was outside and how to get more people inside. It wasn't until the artists started focusing inward on what they really wanted that they truly obtained real success. This conversation reminds me a lot of that. Thank you, Kia. Good to see you.
Yes.
Anna says, my friends know I usually have a notebook handy. I think getting back to that will keep us on track, because now you're not seeing all of the negativity around. And when you're focusing in on your perfect day, you begin to see possibilities. You begin to see things that you didn't notice, like the squirrel running up the tree and the bluebird chasing the squirrel and the squirrel chasing the bluebird. I'm like, who knew?
Listen, for me, my work before, I used to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers. And one of the areas in which I am very skilled is finding gaps, efficiency gaps, productivity gaps, things that are ineffective. I can find them very quickly when I go into business. That's all fine and good. But what I realized is that it also had become true in every part of my life. So it may have been a good skill professionally, but it wasn't so good personally, because I was always focused on what was missing, what was lacking, what is not. So for me, the gratitude journal took a year and a half. It was a year and a half of me doing it every day before there was a shift. And how I first realized the shift is that I ran into some people that I hadn't seen for several months, and they're like, what happened to you? You are so different and you look so good. Like they said, you look like, weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And it was that discipline of constantly forcing myself to shift, to look at what is, instead of focusing on what is not. And it has a lot to do with your ability to create as well, because you get more of what you focus on.
Okay, you're muted, friend.
That's what we talked about this morning, going for your A game. Because on the report card, there's A, B, C, D, and F. Again, I don't know why there was no E, but okay. And when you saw the report card, if you got C's, D's, and F's, the parents or everybody is trying to have you bring up the F or the C or whatever. Why not focus the attention on the A, the thing, the strong point, the thing that is, and not, people can, well, that's not working and that's not working. Well, okay, what is working?
Right.
There you go. What is working?
This was very good, Mark. I appreciate you coming in here.
And a lot of times,
Chicago. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say that a lot of times we allow, and some of us, don't even realize it anymore, that we have allowed other people to tell us who we are.
Exactly.
We've allowed other people to tell us what we are capable of. We have allowed other people to tell us what we're incapable of. We have allowed other people to define us, again, in that delusion that we are just a character in a story that somebody else is writing, and God, I wonder what's going to happen in the next chapter. Instead of remembering, I am the author of this story, and I am going to decide what happens in the next chapter and how this story ends.
And that is how
thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
Mark,
Thank you.
Mark, we need you to put your information in the chat because someone may need a life strategist.
Yes,
Someone may need their life redesigned by an interior decorator for life.
interior, because it always
Starts from the heart.
Inside out. This is good, Mark. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mark is, if you're ever here in the morning for our 8 a.m. programming, Mark jumps in every once in a while, especially on Fridays. He's our resident comedian.
Yeah.
And but today he brought some really good information about writing our perfect day and then writing 5 things we're grateful for, specific things that we're grateful for every day. I think we can do that.
Yep. Brenda says she does 3 already. So, you know.
Add 2 more.
Stretch it, Brandon. Stretch it. Stretch it to 5. Come on.
You're doing better than most of us, Brenda. Some of us have to start from scratch to get regular about it.
Yes. Yeah, so we want to say thank you for Mark being here today. If you have an event or if you have something to share, we're going to have you put it in the chat. Jill, I know you have the yoga,
the virtual yoga coming up,
yoga class coming up here in the city. Well, actually now everybody in the world can join because it's virtual.
Virtual, exactly.
So put that in the chat, put a link to that. Christy, I believe you had something that you were going to put in the chat. And we're not going to keep you any longer because we want you to go and do. Terry used to talk to me about this all. Think and do. You learn something, now go apply it before it disappears.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, we had said that we were going to have people take a seat, but you know what? We decided we want you to just share what it is that you want to share with us and then go do what Mark has instructed. We got some information from a life strategist and it was pro bono. Oh my gosh. Come on, folks.
I'm excited about going to sit down and just dream and write what my perfect day is going to be.
Okay, thank you, Mark. This is newdesign.com. So if you need to redesign your life, Mark's the man. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So next Monday, we're going to have another special guest coming on with us that's going to spark us to greatness. And or help us remind us of our greatness, just like our Mark did here today. So with that, we're going to bid you adieu because we're virtual. If we were in a restaurant, we would be eating and doing things. But because we're here, you get to go home and get your dinner and all of that. Mark is all the way from Chicago. We got Coach Karen from Toronto. Anna, where are you from? I think Anna is, everybody put where you're from. Ask Mark.
Oh, I like that.
Media. Google. Ask Mark Ward. So get to know somebody here in the chat. Follow one another. And we will see you next first Monday and all through the week this week. Tomorrow is Tuesday.
So we have
social media, digital marketing.
We're talking to Terry Johnson online all the way from New York City about social media
and digital marketing. Coach Karen will be in on Wednesday. Thursday, we'll be talking happy, healthy habits with Robin Shimizu and friends. And then we're talking tech on Friday.
In English. Don't be scared. Come on in and learn some tech for your business.
Okay. All right, then.
With that, Toronto, Canada. The cities are coming in. Tell us what city you're from. So with that, we want to remind you, don't forget to go to the front of your own line. Happy Monday to you too, Karen. Happy first Monday. She says, oh, we got comments coming in here. Here's
Yeah,
a
so here's a
event.
real event to relax and meditate and create a story. A new
Mm.
story. Thank you, Jill.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Thank you.
All right.
Bye,
We'll
guys.
talk to you next first Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.